Hey, what's happening, YouTubers? Today we're going to take a look at my top 10 Marvel Legends of 2023, a year that saw a collection of characters in the line from X-Men Anniversary Wave or Avengers Beyond Earth's Mightiest Wave, and even some MCU stuff sprinkled in between. But who's going to take that coveted number one spot on my top 10 list? Let's find out. But before we get started with the honorable mentions, I actually wanted to change it up this year. I didn't pick up as many MCU figures this year as I have in previous years. I'm actually going to combine the MCU and comic book Marvel Legends into one list this year. So I'm going to be switching it up. Even though the title does say Top 10 Marvel Legends of 2023, scratch that. We're going to make it my top 15 Marvel Legends of 2023 because it is going to be compiled of both MCU and comic-based figures. But without further ado, let's get started with the honorable mentions first. I have three honorable mentions this year for my Marvel Legends. I have the Dark Phoenix from the Retro card, and shout out to Shelf Avengers on Instagram. We don't have to pay the aftermarket prices on that 2-pack Toys R Us exclusives anymore. And then the other one I want to give is to the animated series Wolverine from X-Men 97 Wave. We finally have an updated pinless Marvel Legends Wolverine, which holds true to the aesthetics of the Jim Lee artwork while still at the same time maintaining the aesthetics of the animated series. And then my third honorable mention goes to Spider-Punk from the Across the Spider-Verse Wave. Now this one is actually jumping up there in aftermarket prices, but for the time, I remember people were thinking, wow, this is wild, it's a far cry from the comic book design. It still looks good nonetheless. The amount of paint deco and paint application on this figure is awesome. Even though it looks kind of weird, it's a far cry from the comic book version, it's still a nice aesthetic nonetheless. Kicking the list off at number 15, we have Ronan the Accuser. Not seen in comic figure form since the 2007 Build-A-Figure version, this was a much needed upgrade for your Cosmic and Marvel collection. Speaking of Cosmic, kicking her way at number 14 we have Moondragon, a character appearing the first time in the Marvel Legends line, and it's nice to see the Marvel Legends line slowly fleshing out characters needed for our comic Guardians of the Galaxy display. Saluting his way at number 13 we have the new Bucky Barnes Captain America. Yes, the quote-unquote Bucky Cap mold. For its time, the OG Bucky Cap mold was good, but it served its purpose if I'm being honest. But this was something that sorely needed an upgrade, as the last time we get Sergeant Barnes in the Cap outfit was over 10 years ago. Suffice to say, he's utilizing that new Vulcan body, which is a way better version than the prior Bucky Cap mold, and another welcome addition for your Avengers display. Universe hopping her way at the number 12 spot, we have Spider-Gwen from the Across the Spider-Verse Wave. There's no doubt that the Spider-Verse movies have certain aesthetics to them and art style, so translating into figure form is hard. That second attempt Legends had back in 2021 was nice, but not quite it in my opinion. However, this year they came back and hit on all cylinders with this Spider-Gwen. Wielding her magic at the number 11 spot, we have Clea. While we've gotten unquestionably one of the best Doctor Strange figures in 2022, it's great to see more characters from his sphere of the Marvel Universe. While I do joke that head sculpt kind of looks like Homegirl from Hannah Montana, it is a nice figure overall. This pick is also for my homie Angelina out there for getting me hip to this character prior to the Doctor Strange movie. Mad respects. Punching his way into the top 10 at number 10, we've got Drax the Destroyer. Yes, the real Drax. I'm a huge fan of this Drax as opposed to the modern version, as this was the version of Drax I grew up reading in the comics. While some might say this is just the Apocalypse body mold reuse, I don't care to be honest. Mainly because the Infinity Gauntlet is still one of my favorite comic book stories, and this version of Drax appeared in it. It is cool to see the Legends line knocking out more characters and designs from that storyline in figure form. For what it's worth, much like Moondragon and Ronan, it's another step into building your Guardians of the Galaxy team. You got a problem? Well, Joe can fix it, because at number 9 we have Joe Fixit Hulk. Something I've always harped on with Marvel Legends is give us more Hulks. I'm a huge fan of the Hulk, and to their credit, they delivered as this year we finally gotten a classic Joe Fixit, well, more classic I should say than the Gameverse version that came out in late 2020. Slicing his way at number 8 we have Blade. Not seen in figure form since 2017, we finally have an updated jacketed version. I know the figure has its flaws, don't get me wrong, and an alternative head sculpt would have definitely gone a long way to getting pushed higher up on the list, but after it's all said and done, this version of Blade gets the job done for your comic book display. Locking in at number 7, we have the highly anticipated Hawkeye with the Sky Cycle. For years this had been listed on a Rectangular's rumored list of releases, and this year we finally got him. Finally, a classic Hawkeye that's engineering is on par with today's Marvel Legends standards. He's all new, he has the pinless joints, and he has that cool fabric to help him sit on the Sky Cycle. It's such an overall nice aesthetic in terms of a classic Hawkeye. Swinging his way into the number 6 spot is Spider-Man, the final suit version. The second Spider-Man No Way Home ended, all I can think was, what's the post-credit scene going to be, and how soon we'll have that final suit in figure form. Almost 2 years later, and the Legends team certainly delivered as they went all out with this figure and accessories. While I know there are some QC issues out there people are having, my advice when picking this figure up is to heat it up so it can loosen the joints. Fighting her way into the number 5 spot, we have Spiral. Depending on where you live, this might have been on your list for 2022, but for me this came out in 2023. And usually when a retro card wave comes out, you can kind of see where all the budget goes to. My goodness, it has never been more evident than this. The Spiral comes with a plethora of accessories, and all 6 of her arms are double jointed and pinless. This figure is a prime example of how far the line has come, because 4 years ago, we never really had any female figures with double jointed elbows, and she's got 6. Breaking out of Odin's vault, we have the Destroyer at number 4. This figure is a prime example of what Legends can do when they go out with deluxe figures, especially the caliber of the Destroyer. The sculpt just looks amazing and the articulation matches the epicness of this figure. That silver finish is also a nice touch. Though he was packaged with that Thor figure, it's still pretty nice. And with all due respect to the Diamond Select version, this Marvel Legends stomps it. Rolling his way into the top 3 spot at number 3, we have the Blob. Not seen in figure form since the dark days of Marvel Legends, we finally have an updated Blob. Though that BAF was nice for its time, it was going for way too much in the aftermarket. Not only does this Blob version look better in my opinion, he moves better, and the 2 head sculpts he comes with allows you for great toy photography shots, especially the before and after his hangry phase, which in this case he looks hangry and I just realized his ass is just up front right there on the camera. Coming in at number 2, we have Black Widow. Now, before I go further, yes, I know that this is the objectively best Marvel Legends of the year when you factor that this figure hits on all cylinders. When you ask toy photographers or toy collectors what they want in terms of the offering and the price point, this is it. She comes with a buffet of accessories, including 3 total head sculpts, 2 weapon accessories, and 3 sets of gauntlets, and then as well as effect pieces for the gauntlets and the guns. And she also has 3 sets of hands total. That's a lot of plastic. But that's just the accessories. I didn't even mention the articulation, which, by the way, is elite, not just for a female Marvel Legends figure, but a Marvel Legends figure in general. She's got the pinless, double-jointed arms and legs, but the highlight is the torso articulation, which has a nice diaphragm joint and ab crunch. An elite articulation that would rival import quality in my opinion. Black Widow is the objective best Marvel Legends of 2023, but this is my list, and I'm biased for the figure at number 1. Swinging in at number 1, we have the Amazing Spider-Man. Now let's just get this out of the way. Yes, we had to double dip to get all the accessories from the 3-pack, and then the unmasked version from the single release. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's get down to why. Why is he number 1? What separates him from all the rest? Well, it's a bit of a hot take, but I prefer Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man out of the 3 live-action ones we've gotten. The Amazing Spider-Man 1 came out during a time in my life, to be honest with y'all, was one of my favorite summers ever. And I remember watching this movie and really enjoying their new take on Peter Parker's character, more so than the cheesy Tobey Maguire version that didn't really resonate with me. Unfortunately, this Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't do as well, as good as the first one did at least. But the one thing they got right was the suit. And apart from that final suit version of Tom Holland in No Way Home, Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit looks like it was pulled straight from the comics. Sadly, we never got a 3rd installment of his Spider-Man movie. But I remember seeing the original release of this in Legends form back in 2014, and for years I would see it at conventions and toy shops, but they were going for an insane amount, so I wasn't going to bother buying it. Plus, it was outdated. Fast forward to December 2021, and we got the return of the Amazing Spider-Man in No Way Home. So naturally, Hasbro was able to push out more figures from this movie, including Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, something I would have never thought we would have gotten. I remember the Venom movie version coming out in 2020, and I was theorizing that we'd probably see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man figures just because his movie was looked fondly from the fans and it did well financially. And in that same year that the Venom movie version came out, the X-Men franchise movies figures got released as well in the Legends line. However, at the time, I also thought that getting an Andrew Garfield version was a 1% chance, considering, his movies didn't do well, and he had a bad falling out with Sony Pictures. The factors of all that, and then the culmination of his return in No Way Home, gave us amazing Spider-Man fans not only closure with his Spider-Man, but we also got another shot at an updated and truly amazing Spider-Man figure. For all those reasons, that's why The Amazing Spider-Man is my #1 Marvel Legends of 2023. So there you have it, YouTubers, my top 15 Marvel Legends of 2023. Operative word being my list. So if you disagree, please sound off the comments below and let me know who your top 10 Marvel Legends are of 2023. And like always, if you like what you see, be sure to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Or don't. I don't care. I'm just kidding. I appreciate every single one of y'all that follow me and comment and take the time to watch my videos. Y'all are real ones.